So
Like what?
I think everyone is putting essentially their self
Mm-hmm.
in everyone's shoes, or whoever they see themselves actually most closely aligned or have seen themselves possibly in a situation like that, and essentially thinking, what would I do, what is right in this, what is right to me at least.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing a wide range of things that are just, like you said, from whether it was right to do so, or whether it was, he should be sued, or he should have his Oscar taken away. So you're seeing a lot of different things there. And I just want to go back to something you talked
Yeah.
about earlier, which is sort of the monetization of this absurdity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that Will and Jada are going to have a red table talk about this,
Oh, facts. Like,
and they're going to have some form of, there might be a book released by Jada about this, or
oh
videos,
my gosh,
or
you're right.
and
I already
obviously
see all
Chris
this.
Chris is going to do that as well, because his tickets are now going to be a hot ticket. Because
They already are.
yeah, so you will see sort of both parties, all parties, including the Oscars as well, everyone trying to capitalize off of this situation, which is, a larger question of sort of the monetization and capitalization of trauma, pain, absurdity, dysfunction. Where does that leave us? Is that essentially where everyone's going to be going? Is that where we're going to be headed? In a way of, as a society, everyone essentially, dealing with their pain and their trauma and their past and their skeletons in their closet by revealing them for some form of monetization, or
Mm.
monetizing their pain. And that is a larger question that I'm not sure whether we can answer that, actually.
This some deep stuff. I do want
Yeah.
to. I don't. Let's go down this rabbit hole. I don't know where it's gonna lead, but
Mhm.
you got me thinking. Like, um, I think there is going. Like, I do see this kind of split right now. Let's just let me take it back. Not a split. Hollywood is losing its grip on the as being the the pinnacle of influence, right? Because like anything that came out of Hollywood, all everyone would always want to go see. It always demanded attention or criticism. The fact that it demanded criticism, even if it was good, bad, it still showed that they had a hold, right? They had a hold on the intentions of people's lives, um, and to the point where also countries were also banning what they were, what comes out of Hollywood. So you can see as on a governmental level, they understand, no, this could be detrimental to our country. How many movies are banned in China that comes out of
Mhm.
Hollywood? Like, one of the biggest things that Marvel does, because they don't want, obviously Marvel is a business and Disney, they care about profits, and China is a huge market. So they're going to make sure that they comply with China. But, you know, that's one of the biggest things. Those are one of the things that comes back, that Hollywood has had this huge hold, but it is losing its grip. More people are looking, let's just say they're looking for alternatives. They're looking for what you're maybe saying, someone who they can relate more with, who can they identify with. And I don't think this is going to end well. I don't think this is going to end, like, this is what this is going to do is going to position him and his family even more independent than what they have already been doing, because Will has his production team. He already has been investing into other forms, into other platforms. Like he understands the business side of it. So I would go as to far as like, um, will we see Will in another Hollywood movie? Of course, but like, this is, you can now start to see that, um, these these celebrities, these public figures, they're really starting to have their own independent brand, and like, and I would not be surprised, like, you know Chris is definitely going to ride this out, and like, all the comedians, are really falling on his side. Like Joe Rogan was like, yeah, it was a joke, which is true. It really was a joke, but like you can tell, his comments comes he's drawn from his identity as a comedian. Like how many comedians have been heckled? How many comedians have been, because it's funny. Like he was like, if we allow this to happen, is it now going to be okay for others to go and smack a comedian if they get offended? Which I'm like, wow, I would have never thought about what you just said, but it's true. Like you as a comedian, you're giving your point of view, you're seeing it from your filter, that which I can kind of understand. I can see that now. If we condone this aspect, if we allow, like, if Will doesn't get, if he doesn't get disciplined or whatever, like, we are setting a precedent that, like, if someone says a joke that's clearly a joke that you don't, that offends you, you don't like, whatever, you feel uncomfortable, you can then respond violently, and that is concerning as a society. If we, so what do you think?
Yeah.
I said a lot, but
yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. I would say, just starting with the sort of stand-up comedian thing, and I think this sort of is something that actually falls along the line of what, comedians have kind of been complaining about for a little bit, which is things like cancel culture, and meaning as a comedian, their job is to say things that actually are absurd at points, and some of them it's to make you think, some of them it's to actually horrify you a little bit.
Yeah, they want to get to the line as close as possible.
Correct.
Like,
yeah, they want to kind of make you feel just a little uncomfortable, and that sort of get you out of your comfort space. So I do think you've seen a lot of comedians, a lot of social commentators, people who actually make their money in front of the camera saying things, kind of feel like this is a bad precedent to set, which is, Will walking on stage and slapping Chris Rock. I would only push back at is that I think the reason it does get let go is because it is Will Smith. He is a megastar. And there is a lot of people, even though he does have his independent brand, I think it's like Overbrook Studios or something of that nature, there are a lot of distribution companies, whether it be Paramount or 20th Century, that have movies that are already, in the can, meaning, movies that are already out there, shows that are syndicated that, need Will Smith to continue to be a bankable brand.
Yeah.
And that, that bit of bankability about him and about movies and about media will keep it from being too bad of a actual repercussions for him, honestly, because a regular guy couldn't have walked up and slapped Chris Rock there. Will Smith did have a privileged position, number one, by being Will Smith, and number two, by being a guy who was nominated and then actually won for Best Actor at that award show. So I do think that there's like kind of a slight difference there. I do think they probably should have some repercussion. I don't think they should probably take away his Oscar, because those are two separate things, how he acted versus how he actually acted.
Yeah, I did read that they are meeting about what are they going to do. They are going to definitely do something. I don't know if it's been announced yet. It probably will be announced by the time you are hearing this, but as of right now, we don't know. So.
Yeah, and just to touch on one last thing you were talking about, which I do think is sort of getting to a little bit of the crux of the issue, is most people as media consumers now would like to see people who identify with them, in some way that is more personalized. So, a lot of people want to see media or actors or actresses or media moguls who look like them, sound like them, have similar lived experiences and cultural experiences. So to have more of a personalized sort of relationship with celebrities, which, we can also at some point in time go into whether that's a good thing or not, because now you have a sort of not separation or a closing in of art and real life that is going to be kind of tough for a society to navigate, about the separation between art and real life.